And welcome. Hello, everybody. This is Mike Bovard, and Mike Malley joining you. We're going to be
Hello.
answering your questions today. And we want to first thank everybody for their thoughts and prayers and notes and emails and everything they sent regarding us, our status with respect to Hurricane Ian. I can tell you that I've been through 14, 15, 16, whatever hurricanes, certainly a lot. And this was the worst one that I've ever been through. And, our hearts go out to our, the folks south of us that really took the brunt of Hurricane Ian. They're in some real rough shape. We do have some customers down there, and we have spoken with them, and their situations are very unfortunate. So we're certainly thinking about them. We got lucky. The hurricane hit south of us, so we got if you know that the hurricane actually goes counterclockwise, so we were on the north side, and so we weren't getting the brunt of it like the folks on the south of the eye. So if you're on the south side, you're really going to get hammered. The north side, because as it comes around, it's not as bad as the south side. It's still really bad. I mean, we had 50-year-old oak trees tossed through people's homes. I mean, it was unbelievable, the destruction when you drove around just my neighborhood to see afterwards what happened. But it could have been a lot worse. The storm surge of the people living on Fort Myers Beach, and the areas down there, they definitely really suffered. Cleanup is going on. And for folks that don't live in Florida, it's kind of different. They've suspended recycling. I know it's kind of funny, but they've suspended recycling, and all of the recycling trucks and drivers and whatnot have been reassigned to picking up debris. There's a tremendous amount of branches and leaves and trees, and if you drive down any street in Western Florida, where the hurricane came through, all you see is just piles and piles of branches and trees and leaves that were damaged in the hurricane. So over time, over the next few weeks, those will get picked up, and we'll start to get lives back to normal. But the people down south of us, it's going to be a long time before they get their homes rebuilt. And I don't know if any of them will. I guess some of them will not even return to those areas. They may choose to go more inland or somewhere else, because I can't even imagine what they went through. Mike lives north of here. How was it for you, Mike?
So for me it was bad. It's definitely not the worst hurricane I've ever experienced, but it was pretty bad. I would say really it was just it was a bunch of downed trees, lots of wind, but not a ton of damage. Some people lost power and stuff like that. Not nearly as bad as the people south of us. Yeah. And it's unbelievable. I saw a post this morning, or maybe it was last night, of all of the power trucks lined up at Sanibel and everything, and they have the temporary bridge built and all that, getting ready to go in. Yeah. It's scary stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing how power trucks from all over the United States have driven here, and they've helped the people of Florida to get power back and get the power grid back up and running. Cell service is still a little spotty. I know they set up some temporary cell towers. It's still a little spotty in areas, but that's coming along as well. But we definitely thank everybody for their support. We'll talk a little bit later about what we're doing here at Suncoast Audio around that, and how you might be able to help at home. So, but without further ado, we can get into some of the industry news. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the products that you've identified as new for the market, Mike?
Absolutely. Yeah. So sorry about that. So we the first thing I wanted to talk about was the Bowers and Wilkins flagship headphone that just came out, the PX8, which is their headphone. I think it's wireless. It is ANC wireless. It's supposed to be really, really good. We know that their in-ears were very, very good.
Yeah, the PI7 and the PI5 were very good. Yes.
Yeah. So the PX8, it's an over-the-ear headphone. I cannot wait to hear it. The wireless headphone market is exploding.
It really is. Yeah, it really is.
With the Apple in-ear stuff, and now they have the over-the-ear ones.
The technology's
as well.
getting a lot better.
Exactly, especially with the new Bluetooth protocols and all that.
Yeah,
absolutely. So definitely interesting. We are a Bowers & Wilkins dealer, so looking forward to checking those out. Bowers & Wilkins also announced the new 700S3 series. So that's,
Yeah, it's funny, they announced the 700S3 series, and immediately we start getting calls for people looking for 700S2. And I mean, we've been inundated with calls. It's like, guys, if you want it, buy it before it's going to be replaced, because as dealers, we're usually told 12 months ago about replacement, so we have time to sort of recycle the inventory and make room, both financially but also physically in the store for the new line that's coming in. So you're all these guys calling around, oh, I want to get a pair of 700 S2s, but you're probably going to be SOL, because there's just not that many, dealers that would just keep them around. Most will be trying to blow them out before the new S3 series is coming out.
Right. And I mean, there's a reason why they're contacting us for the S2s. They're looking everywhere they possibly can.
They absolutely are.
And they were on back order anyway for a while.
Yeah, they were. For a reason now.
Yeah,
now
exactly.
We know why. Yeah.
Also, the new Lumen products, I guess, in general. So the T3 is what I kind of...
T3 is awesome.
Yeah,
we got the T3 in. It's really, really good. I think there was a quick change from the T2 to the T3, because the T2 really only came out a few years ago. And I think there was a quick change for chip shortage reasons. So they started redesigning it when they saw that there would be a chip shortage, a year ago or maybe even longer. And the T3 is definitely a nice step up. I think it's got some of the trickle down from the X1 and the P1. So definitely a great product at a great price point in that 5K range. Yeah, that's a very sweet spot for a lot of folks looking for a DAC streamer, whatnot. So all in one. It's a great product. Yeah, really good. Really good.
Yeah, and I mean, I was going through the other news, and that's pretty much everything. There was some cam jam coverage, stuff like that. It looked like a good show. This is all kind of older news, just because we haven't done a show in a month.
We haven't
because of the hurricane.
Coming up next month is Capital Audio Fest, and I know that there's a lot of folks that will be going to that show. And Gary puts on a really good show.
He does.
Where we, it's the folks here at the Florida Audio Expo, and we're actually going to have Bart on, who manages it for us. He's going to be on here probably in a few weeks, but we get along. We go along great with Gary. We share a lot of information and ideas on how to improve the shows. So we wish him the best of luck at his show. I believe it's next month. I think so. Yeah, Capital Audio Fest. Yeah. I don't know if I'll be there. We'll see. I'm not sure. I may go. I may not.
What's up with that bottle of Eagle Rare just sitting in the frame? It's like, are we going to start drinking?
Well, this is, if you have children, this is part of the first aid kit.
Okay.
That comes with kids, to get, and then when they turn into teenagers, you get 2 bottles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But, I wouldn't know, but that's interesting.
Yeah,
it's good to know. I
absolutely
can't wait.
This was a lovely gift from one of your coworkers, my employee, and we could introduce her now.
Sure.
She does not look like Rick Miller. And she doesn't do the same function as Rick Miller. And this is Cindy Koto. Cindy, how are you?
Hi, I am very happy to be here today.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Cindy has been with Suncoast Audio for almost a year, I believe. Maybe longer. Maybe how long?
Year and a half.
Oh God. Time flies when you're having fun. So, I wanted to tell the story about, why Cindy was hired. when I started out, and if you're a small business owner out there, you might be able to relate to this, but when I started out, we had a company to handle our website, marketing, advertising, all of that kind of stuff. And if you're a small business owner, you'll know that the problem with that approach, and we went through several firms, is that you're just always a client of theirs. You're not the client. And so something that's urgent for you it may not be urgent for them. You're trying to change prices or update prices on the website or add product or remove product or whatever the case might be, or get an ad in on time for the Absolute Sound or Stereo File, or it could be anything. There could be a laundry list of things. And we always found that you were just a client. You weren't the client. And so there wasn't that responsiveness that we needed. And you always wondered, were they really truly looking out for my best interest? Exactly. Or was they were just kind of, BSing us along the way. So there was a lot of frustrations on my part, and I really felt that this was a key position that we needed to bring in-house. We needed somebody to own this entire functionality, the marketing, the advertising, updating of the website, which is now in inflationary times an arduous task. And my sympathies are daily for Cindy, who gets these giant lists from AudioQuest going, ta-da, here's our 10,000 new products that have to be all updated with the new prices. And there's no easy way to do it. Small, as you can imagine, these are smaller manufacturing companies in the world of manufacturing, and they don't have the sophistication of being able to API it and just automatically allow us to update prices with a click of a button. So it's all manual. And so it's definitely quite a task. So and we're very, very fortunate to have Cindy, because Cindy and I have an interesting working relationship, and then I tell her, you're in charge of all of these things and I pay for it. That's the deal. So there's no micromanagement going on. In fact, I can't tell you the number of times I get a text from Cindy and an hour goes by and it's like, hello, are you going to call me? Like, where are you? Of course, I'm with a customer, I'm on the phone, or Mike and I are doing an install, or whatever the case might be. So, Cindy, why don't you talk a little bit about what you do on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I can tell everybody that it's truly a pleasure to work for you and for this company. And I really love the team that I work with. And I think we all complement each other.
Yes. Agreed.
And we make everything work and we get the ball rolling. So it's just amazing. I've never worked for such a really great company.
Thank you. Thank you.
I really enjoy it. I enjoy what I do. And it's just what you said. I do all the marketing, all the advertising, anything that you see out there. That's what I'm here for. Correct.
Without micromanagement, because I have no idea. I'm not creative. So I'll tell you a funny story about Cindy. I actually got there was an issue of the Absolute Sound or Stereo File, and I opened it up, and there was our ad, and it was like, happy holidays from everyone at Suncoast Audio. And I'm thinking, yeah, if you had waited for me to come up with that, it would have been 3 days after Christmas, right? So you need somebody to manage these important tasks in the company, because I can't tell you, if you're selling e-commerce, or you're trying to reach a very specific targeted audience with your message, then it is something that absolutely has to be done in-house. I can't even imagine A, trying to do it on my own, or B, going back to a third party, because they just don't do a great job at being consistent and on top of things all the time.
Well, and they don't get our industry. They don't understand what we're.
That's the other thing, is that
Cindy had to learn a lot.
Cindy is local. She's able to come into the store whenever she wants, see the new products, hear the new products. We can explain so many more things about this type of amplifier, and that's another type of amplifier, and the speakers and the cables. We can go through all of that, and that helps her do her job more effectively. So I totally agree with you, Mike. Yeah, absolutely.
And it is definitely, it's about the audience and understanding it, and see that you meet their needs.
Correct.
And in this industry, not a lot of people get it. That was a very, very good point, Mike. The other Mike.
Yeah, the other Mike. The other Mike. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, your day to day, I mean, you're constantly dealing with, the online advertising vendors, you're dealing with the print advertising vendors. You do a great job at definitely negotiating, pricing and things like that. I would be just like, well, if that's the price for the ad, that's the price for the ad. Cindy's like, nope, we ain't paying that. No. Yeah. You need to be at this price point.
Yeah.
So she knows that from her background. So it's very, very good. But I think truthfully, this year you have spent just an incredible amount of time updating the website, because it just seems every single morning we wake up, ta-da, there's a new price list because somebody, decided that they have to increase their prices because their raw material costs are going up. So there's just been a lot of that. Normally it's once a year, a couple of years, 3 years could go by, but it just seems almost every day we're getting a here's our new price list, ta-da. And Cindy has to manually go in and update all of that, all the ads, everything has to be updated with the new info. So yeah, it's definitely been a disproportionate amount of time that you've spent this year compared to what we did last year, for example.
It's more updating than advertising.
Yeah, it's more updating.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's trying to finding the balance.
Correct.
I still enjoy both of them.
That's true. And Cindy helped out getting some of the stuff for the studio going, the advertising around that. Also the Florida Audio Expo, we're getting ready to ramp up that, getting things, advertising and things that we need, signage and various other things for that. So very helpful. And so this, was a lovely, was this a birthday gift?
It was for Father's Day.
Father's Day. Wow.
Father's
When
Day.
was that? June, July? I forget. That was a while ago.
Every time I come to the store, it just stays in the car.
Well,
and
this
it's
will
like,
be
okay,
enjoyed.
now it's going back home.
This will be enjoyed with some nice new vinyl. So thank you. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. That's nice to hear, as long as it gets string.
Mike, do we let me know if we have questions coming in?
We do, but first, why don't we go over the record of the day?
Okay, so the record of the day. So I was digging through, and everyone's going to look at this and say, oh, I know this record, Mike, or I know that. But you know what? I don't think you do, because we play this album time and time again in the store, and people go, who is that? What band is that? It doesn't matter what track we play from this album. Nobody can figure it out. The album is the Eagles. This album, Long Road Out of Eden, came out in 2007, and it has 20 tracks, so it's a double album. It sounds absolutely phenomenal on vinyl, but it sounds great on digital too. And if you want to hear an album that is really musical and engaging, great music, but also sounds really good. It was recorded really, really well. You definitely want to give this a listen. I think this might be blasphemy for the Hotel California folks out there, but I think this is actually their best album that they ever did.
Especially sonically,
but the songs on it are fantastic as well.
Yeah.
And so if you're tired of listening to, all of the old Eagles songs and you like the sound, but you want to listen to something new, well, relatively new, 2007, give this a spin, because this album, when it came out, it just didn't get a lot of love. I don't know why. And everyone talks about Hotel California and all the other Eagles albums, but they don't talk about this one. And this is actually their best album, in my opinion. So give it a listen. All right, Mike, any questions out there?
Yeah, so we do have some questions. The first one came right when we started the stream, and it's, what is the best system you have ever listened to?
That would be a toss-up between the MBL 101 Extremes and the Avant-Garde Trios that I heard with the full bass horn stack. And I would have a hard time going back and forth and really picking one or the other, because I really enjoyed both of them for different reasons. I think I could tweak the Avant-Garde system to be more of my liking. They had a DAC there that they were using that was very digital and hashy sounding, and looked like an 80s boombox. It wasn't really my cup of tea.
Yeah.
And they weren't really using the amplification I would like. It still sounded really, really good, but I felt that the system had more potential. Whereas the MBL system was using all MBL electronics, and it was dialed in, and it was phenomenal. It was out of this world. So I guess between those two, I'd probably pick the MBL 101 Extremes. But again, I would love to spend, a few days to dial in that avant-garde system, as I think I could get it to surpass the MBL. So
yeah, even better.
That being said, I have not heard the Magico M9s. I haven't heard, the big Wilson Whams or whatever they were called. I've heard, other speakers that are, uber expensive in the MBL avant-garde territory. And they were all really, really good, so it's tough because, there's so many great systems out there, and the room has a lot to play with it. I heard a Wilson, what was it called? The Wilson, I forget the model number. Anyway, it was the big Wilsons from 5 or 6, 7, 8 years ago, and they were at Rocky Mountain Audio Fest, and that was good. They had it with VTL Electronics, and they had the big subwoofers, and they put on a good show. I thought that sounded really good. The M6s, first of all, in the M6s, I heard them when we dialed them in at our customer's place over in Miami. I thought he had amazing sound. He had a reel-to-reel that was killer, and he had, great electronics and a great room. And I thought his M6s sounded phenomenal when we got them dialed in. Speaking of M6s, we have a pair coming in.
We do.
For Suncoast Audio. They'll be here maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday. They're a little bit delayed due to the hurricane, so the shipment got held up in Dallas, Texas, but I did get a notification this morning that they were continuing on their way, so we'll see them here in a few days, and we'll unpack them and uncrate them and get them singing in the store. We're very excited to have those.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of been like a dream speaker of mine to have in the store. The statement speaker for us, and to put with the world-class electronics from Boulder and MSB and whatnot. So yeah, we're excited about that. So that's a long-winded answer, but I'd say the MBL 101 Extremes for sure.
Those are one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
But I think that it also depends on how the setup is done.
Correct.
Which I think cables do matter.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they do.
And like you said, the room can also make a big difference.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Cindy was somebody who was able to, come from outside the industry and be like, how could cables matter? And then sit through a demonstration of A versus B versus C and hear the differences, and then be like, okay, now I get it. So that's an advantage. But the whole cable debate is something that we don't really get into a whole lot. There's a lot of people out there, and they say cables don't matter. Okay, well, great. If you don't believe that, that's fine. Then put more money into buying records or buying new speakers, whatever. But
exactly.
We hear the difference every day between a high capacitance cable like Wire World or a super low capacitance cable like Nordos. The differences are night and day. So you can believe what you want, but the insulation, the materials, the capacitance, the inductance, everything makes a big difference, of the cable.
Yeah. We tend to go off on tangents all the time like this. And, I think with cables, when it comes to cables, I tell this to people. It's the biggest thing is not necessarily that a particular cable is going to make your system sound better.
Right.
But it's going to sound different.
Correct.
If you have a resolving system.
Correct. Yes.
That's able to resolve the differences.
Right.
So that's kind of the way that I explain it to people, especially skeptics. And then you do the demo and you show them the difference between, and a lot of people are shocked. They're going to sound different, maybe not better. It's just whatever you prefer as a listener.
Right.
So, in some cases, I think certain cables sound better in certain systems.
Right. I agree. And I think that, they can sound better. They will definitely sound different, but they will sound better depending on what flavoring that person is looking for. Right. So if you imagine, a large group of friends sitting around the table and everyone served their meal, you're going to have one guy reach for the ketchup, one guy reach for the pepper. My friend Mario will be grabbing the hottest hot sauce and putting it everywhere on everything, right? There'll be the guy with the salt shaker and you think his hand is broken. He's putting so much salt on the food. I'll be the guy with no salt. I don't want any salt, that kind of stuff. So we look at cables as more flavoring. Right. And so we get the guy who's like, I need more detail and I want more bite and I want more, top end. I mean, we can find the right cable for that. The guy says, I want it warmer. I want it smoother. I want to tame that tweeter a little bit. I've got these TAD speakers that have a bright tweeter and I want to tame it. We've got cables that can do that. And so that's what I'm trying to say is that once you get the system together that you love 95% of it, but you want to just flavor it a little bit, we can certainly find that right cable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Okay. So the next question is, please explain what the Gigafoil is doing internally. Is it converting the Ethernet signal to fiber optic and then back again?
Yes.
And also versus what a high-end network switch would do, what's the difference?
Well, I think that's a great question. I wish Rick was here because he would actually be able to give us a better explanation. But the Gigafoil is doing the Ethernet to fiber optic and back to Ethernet. What it's doing in terms of, filtering, I'm not exactly sure. That's more of a technical question for the folks at Gigafoil. In terms of the switch, there are components in the switch which are reducing noise that's on the line. Now, you may say, come on, I mean, you don't hear it. There's no buzzing or humming or anything like that. But noise in digital masks itself in the upper register and the tweeter a lot of time. So you'll go from a song sounding a little hashy, a little harsh, to actually sounding quite smooth when you start getting rid of noise on the line. And so that's something that you really have to experience to be a believer. And so everyone might be out there, hey, no, you're crazy. My $20 switch from Netgear is fine. I don't need anything else. Fine, that's okay. Yeah. I'm trying to tell you what we hear in the store, and people that have come in and we've done an A/B analysis, they can hear it. You can hear the vocals are more present. They're clearer. There's more space around the instruments and the voices. So if you think it's all hogwash, that's fine. I'm not here to twist anyone's arm, but we do this during the day and we do the experiments for people, and they can hear it. They absolutely can hear it. So
yeah, and you actually didn't you discover the Gigafoil? Like that wasn't
No, Vince at MSB discovered the Gigafoil. He called me and said, "Hey, I found this new product, and we got to have Vince on." And every time we've tried to have him on, he's been sick or something. Anyway,
I can't wait to have him on.
Yeah, but when we have Vince on, it's gonna be a show to watch for sure. But he's always tweaking and tinkering with different things and trying to eke out the most from the digital systems. So he's the one that discovered this industrial product. It's not an audiophile product. It's an industrial product that we've adapted for audio purposes. And so Vince gets full credit for finding it. He sent it to me and told me, you got to try this thing. And we put it in. We're immediately like, what is this thing?
Yeah.
What's it doing? So yeah, great product.
And there was a difference, 100%.
There was a difference. Yeah.
Like, I could almost equate it to maybe a more affordable option if you don't want to go with a full switch or something like that. Try that first, see if it makes a difference in your system.
Yeah, you could go with one of those for $600 or whatever it is, and then you could later add a linear power supply to it, like a Casey's P3, and take it to a new level. It does make a difference. The power supply feeding the Gigafoil actually did make a difference. So it's something that you could start with the wall wart and the Gigafoil and then move up. The switch to me though definitely made a bigger difference.
Oh yeah.
There's a number of switches out there. We sell the Inuus what's it called? The Inuus Phoenix Net.
Yeah.
And then the Nordos QNet. Those are the two main ones that we sell, but there's other ones out there from other companies. So we're not here just to say, oh, buy what we have is great. No, I'm saying there are others out there, and they are all fundamentally doing the same type of thing. I felt that the QNet with the linear power supply is the Q source, it's called. I felt that was the best sounding, and I bought one for myself at home. That setup at home, I was so convinced. So yeah. It's definitely very, very good, and I would agree with you. Okay, so what's next? Any word on if a renderer is going to be designing a future streamer to compete with the Hi-Fi Rose streamer with HDMI, YouTube, all those features? I would doubt it.
Yeah,
I would highly doubt it. I don't know for a fact one way or the other, but I would doubt it. I don't think that is a renderer's forte. I think they're more interested in, the N150, N200 type products, the N20, the N30. I just don't see them trying to come out with a Swiss Army knife type product that does it all. They've got the A15, they've got the A20, the A30. I don't see them venturing into that. I just don't. It's not really their core competency, and that's not really where their strength is. So I don't really see it.
Yeah, I think Hi-Fi Rose is kind of in a league of their own right now.
They're in a league of their own. They've got the streamer, the RS, or the 180
150B.
150B. Sorry, 150B. Then they have the new integrated amp, and now they're coming out with the 520, which is an integrated amp and DAC streamer all in one for $38.95. Like under $4,000.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, everything all in one.
Everything all in one. So we've got one on order. We're anxious to get it in the store and play with it. But so far we have the Hi-Fi Rose integrated. Sounds amazing. We have the Hi-Fi Rose DAC streamer. Really, really good product. So we're excited to get this new one. Something I did want to mention, Mike, and I've had more than a few calls, is that as of a few weeks ago, Suncoast Audio is the North American distributor for Clarisse Audio. Clarisse Audio is a ribbon speaker out of Switzerland that is designed in Switzerland but manufactured in Vietnam. There is some design work that goes on in Vietnam as well. This is a speaker that looks like Apogees. So if you've been around audio for a while and you've seen these Apogees that were very, very popular in the 80s and 90s and whatnot, this is what the speaker looks like. But phenomenal build quality, built to 2022 standards. They sonically sound amazing. We started talking to the company back in March, and we were sent a pair in the summer, and we assembled them, broke them in, and we've been living with them now for a while, and they sound incredible. I've never heard vocals sound more pure than with the Clarisse Audio speakers. The bass is very, very good.
Mm-hmm. Surprisingly good after they break in.
Right. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
So there are two versions of every speaker, the neodymium version and the non-neodymium magnet version. We will only be importing the neodymium version. It's a little bit more money, but they're super easy to drive, much easier than the non version. So that's something for people to consider. The website is clarissesaudio.com. If you want to look at all the different models, they have a Minuet, they have a Studio Plus, which we have in the store right now, and then they go on and upwards from there. The company has been very supportive. They will be coming from Europe and from Vietnam in February to join us at the Florida Audio Expo. We're going to be showing the Auditorium, which is the top of the line single panel Clarisse audio speaker. They do make multi-panels, so a panel for the bass and a panel for mid-range and tweeter and whatnot. But we will be showing the top of the line single panel called the Auditorium.
It's gigantic, right?
It's heavy. It's like both panels I think shipped are 880 pounds.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a big sucker. We'll be excited to do that. I believe we'll be showing with the block audio monos and preamp. Also Critical Mass will be showing, bringing their latest and greatest rack. So Joe from Critical Mass will be there. I think we'll have the MSB DAC probably, and then turntable wise, I don't know. Maybe Avid.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get Crazy Matt from VPI to join us and do the show. Maybe Kuzma. I don't know. We'll figure all that out. We're kind of putting together the pieces right now. I think we'll do the Nordos cables though. Steve Green was such a big help. He was a great guest on the show, and he was super helpful at the last Florida Audio Expo. So we may do those cables in the big room.
Well, they're outstanding, and they match the Clarisse. It's great.
Yeah. For me, the Clarisse audio, like any panel speaker, they just have incredible transparency. The mid-range, the vocals are so real and haunting. The top end is pure and extended and sweet. The bass is very good, but you need to play with positioning. We found they needed to be out 53 inches. So from the back of the speaker to the wall behind it, we found 53 inches to be the optimum. We tried 10 feet and then 9 feet and 8 feet, and we all went all the way back to 2 feet, but we found 53 to be the optimum. But you can get away with about 36 inches from the back of the speaker to the wall, but they just start to open up a little bit more. If you can just eke them out about 53 inches, maybe you'll play with your room, it'll be different. But we've been experimenting for a long time with these, and that's what we found to be the optimum. They like about 3 feet from the sidewalls, and ideally 53 inches behind them. So that's what we found. And then in terms of the listening position, again, I'm still experimenting, but I found a good starting point was to sort of measure from tweeter to tweeter of the speakers, and then multiply that distance by 1.5 and then start from there. I liked it a little bit further back than the 1.5 calculation, but not a lot. I found it was really a good number. So for anybody thinking out there, they're very room friendly, don't have anything absorption or anything behind them. They don't want absorption, they want diffusion if anything, or just a plain wall will be fine. But diffusion would also work. So if you don't want to put up a diffusion panel, you can put up silk plants. They work really, you put some silk plants in there. They work great as a diffuser and they look nice. You can also put bamboo sticks in a vase, spread them out. Those will work very, very well as a diffuser as well behind the Clarisse speakers. So and then any more on the Clarisse, Mike?
So they, in general, at least the ones that we have, what was the version we have again?
Studio Plus.
The Studio Plus. They need a relatively large room, right?
Well, not really. I mean, they'll work in, probably a 15 by 20. They don't care what's on the sidewalls, or just don't have anything behind them, because if you have a big wall of absorption behind them, it'll just suck the sound because they're a dipole. So you don't really want to do that. The bass response I found once we got the right distance was very good. These are not going to be a big cone and dome bass that's going to rattle the room and all your fixings above, that's not really what it's about. This is a speaker that has very defined bass.
Oh yeah.
It has, I can still feel it. It's there. It's not light by any means. But it's not a boom, boom, boom thump and whatnot kind of. You could always add subwoofers. That's always an option for people. But the way when we got them in our 20 by 25 and I had them out at 53 inches, I never felt like we needed to add more bass.
Oh, I'd agree.
Yeah, more subwoofers. So they have external crossovers. The cables that connect the speaker to the crossover are what's in the actual crossover. So the company recommends you keep that, but obviously you could change it out. They come with jumpers, but I found they did sound better when we ran, a second set of speaker cables from the amplifier. Yeah. And we've tried them with the little MSB amp. No problem. We try them with the big boulders. No problem. We try them with the MBL amps. No problem. So they run fine. Now, the version we have in the store is not the neodymium version. So there is, that's something to take into consideration. But I think going forward, the plan is for us to only bring in the neodymium version because they're so easy to drive. And that means somebody can get a pair of the minuets if they want the small speaker to start out, or the Studio Plus, or any of the other models. And they could use an integrated, off they go, or a tube amp. Tubes and panel speakers are a great match. So yeah, they are. They're very excited. Good. The company has been incredibly supportive. We have all kinds of pictures that we can get up on our website. And but if you remember Apogees and you love that sound, you'll love these even more. These are next step up. The designer, I think he worked on Apogees for 30 plus years, so he knows them inside and out.
Yeah. He used to modify them and stuff. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, they sound really, really good. I was blown away.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay. The next question is a little bit controversial, but I am going to let it through because I want to let every question through. Someone said, speaking of website updates.
Okay, Cindy.
I noticed some of the legacy Luxman 590s, the integrateds, are still listed. Do you have a stash of them available?
I wish we did have a stash available. We have our 595 SE available, which is the 590 on steroids, the limited edition. We have our demo. We have our demo. We're not married to it, so if somebody wanted to purchase it, we would let it go. Probably with our hands clutching as it left, but we would let that go. But no, the answer is I have had Cindy doing about 75 other projects. She's trying to get updates to the website. You have to understand that we have a responsibility as a e-commerce reseller for companies like AudioQuest that we have to keep all the products up to date with the latest pricing. And if you can think about AudioQuest, they have a cable for every need and every budget. And every price point. I mean, they have so many products.
Well, it's good.
10,000 SKUs of product, right? So I've had Cindy focusing on that. Plus, she will happily share with you the nightmares that we constantly have with Google.
That's very exciting. They constantly ruin my life, but I've learned to live with it. So it's okay. Although I will update on that today, on that part of the website.
The 590?
Okay,
nice. Yeah.
It's definitely. It's so hard. You got to understand, guys, it's so hard. We have thousands and thousands of products that we carry.
20,000 SKUs of product.
20,000 SKUs. It's so hard for anybody to keep up with all of that. So she has a lot of load on her back, and I have so much respect for her in what she does, and it just takes a lot of work.
It does.
So that's just something to be.
Now, if it makes you feel any better, the 590 is actually still on the Luxman price sheet.
It is.
So even Luxman hasn't updated the dealers with the price sheet, even though we can't get it anymore. So anyway,
that happens a lot. They don't let you know when some of the products are discontinued,
that does.
you get the new price list and they're still there, and you just
Yeah, it's a small cottage industry of smaller manufacturers, and they sometimes just don't have the infrastructure, and the communication place. Some of them do; they do a great job. Others they don't, and we're waiting when the customer calls and goes, "Yeah, but it's on your website." And you're like, thinking, well, wait a minute, that's discontinued, I think. So, so we will get it updated, and we do appreciate people pointing these things out. We do want the website to be accurate and perfect, but there is some gremlins on there that sneak in from time to time with a wrong price or outdated product. So we try to keep it up to date the best we can.
Yeah, with thousands of products, it's tough. All right. So have we had a chance to test the MSB Digital Director yet?
No. And they're waiting on the chips so that they can build enough units for dealer evaluations and dealer demos. So we're waiting. I think honestly it's going to be probably December before we get our unit in, but trust me, we're anxiously waiting for it. But the holdup is the chipset. I don't know where they're at. The last I talked to MSB, they said, we're aiming for November, but probably December. So that's where we're at with that.
All right. Any experience with inacoustic cables?
No, I have none.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
I've never.
I've seen them at the shows, but no experience. No.
Yeah, same. All right. So then we have a great, very informative show. Thank you very much, Josh. Speaking of the Hi-Fi Road streamers, sonically speaking, is the 150B that much better, different, more refined than the 250? Are the DACs different in presentation? Thanks.
Great question. And I'll be honest with you, we've never actually got a chance to play with the 250. I believe we heard it briefly at, I think it was Expona. And if I'm not mistaken, they had it in one of the rooms. But we came on board really when the 150 was launched or was just announced. And so we never got a chance to play with the 250. So I honestly can't say. I know the 150 with its 9038 Pro DAC chipset, it sounds like a much more expensive streamer, and it's something definitely to look at. Everyone we sold it to has been super happy with it. The functionality, the musicality of it, they've been very, very happy. It's really a great product at a great price, and it looks good. The build quality is good. The screen is beautiful. It does everything, and there are people out there looking for HDMI outputs and things like that, and it fits the bill for a lot of people. So
it's the thing is so impressive. It's one of my favorite for that price point. I mean, how can you beat it?
Yeah, it's really good.
It's so good. Okay. What, in your opinion, is the most overrated hi-fi manufacturer?
Oh boy, that's a can of worms.
That is a can of worms.
Oh man.
Overrated.
I need to think about that one.
It's tough.
Yeah, there's probably people out there wanting me to say Macintosh, but I actually like Macintosh, and I've owned so much of it, and it's priced fairly.
Right.
I like the older Macintosh sound than the newer, but overrated. I mean, without getting a lot of, maybe I have to put my fireproof suit here on, but I mean, TAD has probably been one brand I never really figured out why. I mean, I went and I listened to the CR1s and the newest. I never really understood the TAD. Oh no, I know one. This is going to cause a shitstorm.
Okay.
And I don't care. Devore. I don't get it.
I would agree.
I don't get it. I go and listen to those speakers and I think, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Apologies if you own the speaker, but I am not a fan. I don't understand what the obsession over that speaker is. I don't get it. I've heard the 98s or 88s or whatever the hell they're called. I've heard a whole bunch 93s, and I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, there's something.
I would love to throw some more mud in, but I'm resisting. But stereo salesmen shouldn't be designing speakers. But anyway, no, I just not a fan of that speaker. It's just not my cup of tea. They have a loyal following, and hats off to those people. I understand, but no, that's not something I really can be passionate about. I like similar speakers, the Harbest, the Spendors, the Grahams. Yeah, great. Like them. ATCs, great speakers, you know. But no, I've never been a fan of that particular, and I don't understand the near cult-like following of it, but there you go.
Yeah, for me, it would definitely be, at least in 2022, it's Macintosh.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, but you may not have the history. Like, I've owned so much Mac and loved it all. The 2301s, 601s, 275s, 452. I could go on all the Mac stuff I've owned. It's been great. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
I think the older stuff, the stuff that came out maybe, I don't know, 10, 15, 20, even more years ago. Yeah. I think that's the kind of the more Mac that I know and have heard.
Right.
The newer stuff just doesn't really float my boat from a design perspective.
The newer
and all
stuff,
that
like
stuff.
the 1.25, the 611, it's a different sound.
Yeah.
And it may not be, if you're looking for the traditional Mac sound of the the 501s or whatever, it does sound different, the newer Mac sound. But I don't know, I have a soft spot because I've had so much Macintosh, and always been a fan of the brand. And it's not priced crazy. It isn't.
Agreed.
It's priced fairly. It's good stuff, made in America. But it is what it is. Some people like it. I know there's two camps. Some people love it. Some people it's not their thing. So
yeah. All right. I guess we'll just close that box. And,
yeah, we could be here a while. Yeah, we could be here a while. Yeah, definitely.
All right. So let's see here. Let's make sure we're still. It looks like we have
I did have a question come in. A few of them actually come in via email.
Sure.
So let me just get to the first one. So somebody sent me an email yesterday, and they said, "Do I need an MQA enabled DAC with the U2 Mini to get MQA?" I'm assuming. So the answer is yes. MQA, and I know it causes a big shitstorm out there, but whatever. I'm not here to debate the merits of MQA. I'm here to answer the technical reasons. So there's 3 unfolds with MQA to get full MQA. The first unfold is done by title, so you need a title subscription. The second is done by what I'll call the digital transport, right? So the streamer without a DAC, but if you have a streamer with a DAC, it can do both. So the second part is unfolded by that device, okay, whether it's built into one or separate. The third and final unfold of MQA is done by the DAC. So you do need an MQA certified DAC in order to do that final unfold. So if you've got an older DAC, a legacy DAC, and you're trying to just say, well, if I just get a U2 Mini, it'll do MQA, and then I'll be experiencing MQA in all its glory. No, you
Not
won't
quite.
be. You need all 3 pieces: the title subscription, the network transport, streamer, whatever you want to call it, to do the next bit of unfolding, and then finally the DAC to do the final unfold. So hopefully that answers your question on MQA. I had another person email me yesterday. Do we ship fine audio speakers to? No. As a dealer, we have territorial restrictions, and for fine audio, we are restricted to the United States, so we cannot sell outside the United States. So unfortunately, no, but I'm sure if you reach out to Fine Audio, you will be able to, they'll point you in the right direction to a distributor in Europe that would be able to help you out. Last question I got. Why don't you show specifications of the esoteric FO3A on your website? Well, the website person is pretty busy these days to be digging for an FO3A specification sheet to post up. So my answer to that, as I answer to many people, Google is your best friend.
Yes.
So you can Google that, click on specs.
No offense.
No offense. On the manufacturer's website, click specs, and there will be all the specifications on the FO3A integrated amp. So as much as we'd love to have all the information in the world about every single product that's out there, we can barely keep up with just keeping the prices right and the current product list. So, we've got our hands full.
We do.
We do have most, or I guess more complete descriptions and specifications than many other
products.
That's true.
Yeah, we're working our way through.
Yeah, we are. Okay, what do we have next here? Okay, yeah, this is a good one just to clear up. What kind of financing do you have available, and what is the rate?
We have financing through Bread, who I've had a love-hate relationship with.
Yeah.
Because anyway, only because their interface hasn't been as good into our web.
12 months, 18 months, 24 months. But that's directly with them. But we do have the option. So that works really well.
Okay. Yeah. It's also important to clarify that that's only on our website, correct?
Correct.
I think to do Bread purchases or use Bread for a product we don't sell directly through the website. So just so people know, some manufacturers up to speed with the current times and allow you to sell the products, add to cart, check out, pay. They allow you to do that. Many do not. The internet is evil and we don't want our products sold online and whatever. They have their reasons. So for those types of products, we need to put you in touch with Matt from the office, and then he will do the paperwork, help you do the paperwork to purchase something that's not sold directly online, and then we can do it that way. So I know he's done that recently. Didn't he just do that for like an Enlium 23R? Or
I think so.
Yeah. Or what was the other one? Or was it it was a sim audio piece? Anyway, I forget. But he just finished doing that last week for somebody. So, yeah.
It's good to get that clarification.
Yeah.
So thanks for doing the show again. This is Divertity. He's been following us since the very beginning, since our very first show.
Yep.
Can you compare and contrast sonic character of both Inuus and a renderer at their flagship level?
Yeah, so sonically, I find that the render is more analog. It's more smoother. It's more dense in sound. It's maybe a little bit more laid back. So in a system that's highly resolving, I think the render is a great product. The Inuus has more dynamics, more punch, more detail, more definition. They're both different in what they bring to the table. In fact, I was just doing this shootout last week, and I was going back and forth because the Inuus statement is so new in the store, and I really wanted to compare and contrast. And I think if you're looking for more detail, transparency, more jump in your system, more dynamics, more resolution, I think the Inuus is great, and the Inuus running their app is really, really good. The render I just felt was more dense in tone and more meat on the bones, if you will, more of a smoother, relaxed approach. And they're different. It just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. So I think if you had a very resolving DAC, maybe the render would be a better fit. And if you had more of a tubey, laid back, kind of maybe a Lampezator or something, or an Aqua, maybe the Inuus would be a better fit. So it really just depends on the individual. That being said, I love the Inuus ripping capabilities built in the storage. I think it's great. You know, as I said, I'm a CD buyer. I buy a lot of records, but I buy a lot of CDs too. And I love to bring them home and rip them and have them in storage. So that's a nice feature of the Inuus.
Absolutely. And this one actually kind of ties right in with it. Can you comment on the relative performance of top streamers from Name, MSB, Lin, and other top products? So I think this gentleman is talking about streamers, combo units, I would guess.
Combo units?
That's what it seems like, at least.
Well, I'll start with my favorites. My absolute favorite for the money, and it's not inexpensive, so I'm not saying this is a relatively cheap option. This is still pricey at about $16,000, but I love the MSB discrete with the second power supply and either the Rune renderer module or the Pro USB module. That combination to me is like that's the one that if I'm, you know, stretching a little bit, that's the one I'm going to buy. Obviously the MSB Premier and the Reference and the Select are better.
And he is saying top
well,
tier.
The Select 2 is the best I've ever heard, bar none. I mean, sounds like my Studer reel-to-reel with a really good copy of a master tape. I haven't heard better. I've heard the competition out there. They sound digital to me. Whereas when I listen to the MSB, it doesn't sound like vinyl. No, it sounds like reel-to-reel. It's very rich and saturated. It's got that tonal density that's just so palatable. You know, the voices are, and the instruments, the guitar, the piano. I just haven't heard better digital than the MSB Select 2, and that's the best. My other favorites, I love the new esoteric sound, even the NO5XD, the KO3XD, the KO1XD. I have at home the Grandioso K1X, which is their flagship streamer, all in one CD player, SA CD player. And the reason I have that instead of the MSB is because I have so many SA CDs and CDs that I play. So I loved it. I love its sound. It's very 3D holographic. I've told the story before when we got the first new XD product in the store. It was the KO3 XD. I remember saying to Mike that something was out of phase. Like we had wired something out of phase because I was hearing stuff like all over the place. And I'm thinking we had just gone from this other CD player to this new KO3 XD. And I'm hearing stuff all over the place with the exact same system, the exact same CD. And I'm thinking, what is this? So I love that product. The NO1XD from Esoteric, their flagship streamer, is fantastic. Really, really good product. If that's a stretch for you, the NO5XD is also excellent. I love the Lumen P1. It's one of my favorite Lumen pieces of all time. I've made it very clear. The X1 is great, and the T3 are great, but the P1 for me has a special sound that I just really, really like it. I find it very engaging.
Yeah, I mean that kind of covers the top products.
Covers it, yeah.
That we carry.
Yeah.
There is another one that kind of ties into it. What are your thoughts on the Esoteric NO1XD versus the KO1XD in terms of just DAC quality? That's
identical.
Yeah, they're
it's identical. Yeah, I mean, to me, they sound identical.
Yeah.
If you need the transport and you're going to be playing CDs and SA CDs, get the KO1XD. Now, what does that mean from a networking standpoint? You're going to want to put a network streamer with it, like a network transport with it, like an Arender or a Lumen or an Inuus. You're going to want to put something to feed that USB input on the KO1XD. But then once you've done that, you have the best of both worlds. You've got your CD, your SACD, you've got great DAC, and you've got your ability to stream into that DAC from, you know, your Arender or whatever it is. So, but if you said, no, Mike, I'm not going to play CDs, I'll never buy SA CDs, I'm never going to do any of that, then get the NO1XD.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I would definitely agree with that. So the next one, what is the best-selling brand or product you guys have that you can't keep in stock because it gets bought up so quick? I do just want to note real quick before we start talking about this, the degritter is insane. That thing flies off the shelves.
Yeah, the degritter is probably the one that, I kind of thought would sell well, but it's sold extremely well.
Yeah.
Like, we buy them by the truckload. So when they show up, they're all wrapped on these pallets, and we look at each other and go, oh God, there's another 35 degritters. And then, they're going every day, silver, black, whatever. And then we offer either something that other people don't, is that we offer either free filters or free fluid if you purchase from us. So
kind of a bundle.
Silver or black. So yeah, those, I would say the degritter, you're right. I would say that's probably number one. Number two, I would say the Rigas.
Yep.
Riga
turntables.
P3s, P1s, P6s. Yeah. I do enjoy, I must tell you guys, I do enjoy selling the P1s and P3s because we end up talking to a different type of customer.
Yep.
So, we'll sell a P1, which is what, $499 or $500, whatever. It goes out the door. And I'll get this call, and it'll be this little voice. Hello, this is Alice, and I bought the P1 from you. It's this teenage girl that's going to be playing her Billie Eilish records at home, or Taylor Swift, or whatever she's going to be playing. Right? Could be Crosby, Stills, and Nash for all I know. But you get this little voice, sweet little voice on the end, and can you help me? Yeah. So we help them get it set up over the phone and walk them through it. So cool. The Rigas would probably be number two, and then number three would, I guess, the Hi-Fi Rose.
Yeah, Hi-Fi Rose.
We always keep them in stock because when people hear them, they're like, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one for sure.
And it fluctuates too. Like when the Bowers and Wilkins
PI7s. Oh my gosh.
We couldn't keep those in stock.
We couldn't. We went through 50 like that.
Yeah.
They were going out the door all the time. Yeah, they were really good.
A lot of hype behind that.
A lot of hype behind the PI7 and PI5. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right.
We wish it was Magical M9s going at the door like that, though. And MBL Extremes and other things like that.
All right. So we have, really appreciate the comment on the Renderverse Inuus. Have you heard the new Inuus Pulsar?
No.
Yeah.
We had Kevin on here 2 weeks ago, or last 2 weeks ago. Anyway, he was on here and he basically said that they're going to be shipping any day now. So we haven't had a chance to hear it. We would like to, and we will at some point, but we just haven't had the opportunity. So
yeah, and I think it's a really interesting entry from Inuus.
Yes.
Because now you have just the streamer.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
You don't need the ripping. You don't need the storage. You got it. You got your NAS. You got your laptop, whatever you're going to rip on. Yeah.
Yeah, because we just had a guy come in and he was talking about streamers.
Yep.
And he said, I don't need a ripper, so I don't want to spend the money on something that I'm not going to use, So that would have been, perfect product for him.
Yep, that's perfect.
All right, and then what are your thoughts? That's it, actually. That's all we have. If anyone has any more questions, feel free to throw them at us. Mike, do you want to talk about the new speakers that we just got in recently?
So last week we received I think we ordered them in March.
Yep.
The B&W Bowers & Wilkins 801 D4s. So we've had the 802 D4s in the store for a while now, for a few months, and we've had the 804 D4s in the store, but we added the 801 D4s, and we've been breaking them in now for a solid week. They've been going nonstop, and I just recently, yesterday, moved them into the big room. They were in the front room just breaking in, and moved them into the big room to put with the big Boulder 2160 and the cables and set up in there and spike them. So let me talk a little bit about the B&W system because it's so unique. So if you haven't bought Bowers & Wilkins speakers in the last 5-6 years, you're probably not familiar with the way that they come. So they do come with a in a box, a cardboard box, not a wooden crate, but a cardboard box, and it's like a thick foam base, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay. But the reason this is important is how easy it is to get these speakers up and out of the box and playing in no time. So literally with one arm tied behind your back, you can do it by yourself. You cut the straps, okay? Take the cardboard and it folds like this. Bang, the cardboard just comes right out. Now the speaker is there. There's a ramp on the back that's attached in the cardboard. So there's this slot that the ramp goes in. You pull the ramp out and you attach it to the front, okay? Now the speakers are on wheels. You wheel them out of the box and down the ramp. They're on these 360 degree wheels. So you can, they just roll like butter. So you roll them, you get them in place. Then once they're in place with the help of somebody, it seems like you want to tilt it to one side. And then as you lower the spikes, the wheels kind of go up. And now you've got the spike system, but you've also got another tool available to you for rake angle. So there's these bolts in the bottom of the speaker that you don't see. And there's this bolt with this like hard rubber end on it. So if you want to put it on a hardwood floor or something, it won't damage it. And you can adjust from the top, you can adjust the rake angle. So you can make, if you have to sit closer to the speaker, you can raise up the back, or you can lower the back, raise the front. I mean, you have so much flexibility with rake angle to with these speakers. The unboxing crating system is brilliant.
Yeah, best in the industry.
It's, for me, it's great because I do it by myself, I could be talking on the phone and unboxing a pair of 801s like ease.
And what do they weigh each? Like, I don't know, 275
pounds. I don't know. They're heavy suckers. Yeah. And so we've been breaking them in. Sonically, a lot more bass, a lot deeper bass than the 802 D4s, the same great mid-range and high-end, the same disappearing act because there is no flat surface anywhere on the speaker. It's just totally surrounded. If you look at some blow-up pictures online of the speaker, you'll see that they have these thick metal aluminum plates on the front now, I guess to control resonances. So yeah, definitely. I mean, at 38 grand, I mean, it's killer.
Yeah.
Speaker's killer good,
It's insane. Yes.
So yeah, something for people to check out and listen to. Maybe it's not your cup of tea. It's not for everybody, but definitely something that's worth listening to for sure and auditioning.
Absolutely. Especially if you heard the D3 series and you did not like it.
Yeah.
100% come and listen to the D4s, or go and listen to the D4s wherever you can, because it's just incredible.
Yeah. So if you heard the D3 series, the difference is they kind of tamed the tweeter and brought up the bass, but the bass is so tight and fast that there's no overhang at all. There's no lingering boom in your room. There's no overhang. It's just boom. Boom, super tight, super fast bass. And I put a test track on yesterday, one that can give a lot of speakers fits. Trying to remember the name of the singer. She was at Expona about 3 years ago. She did a guest concert. Oh man. Anyway, I'm drawing a blank, but I played some tracks from her and her album, and there's certain parts in there in the first song that can kind of linger. The bass can kind of excite a room. No, didn't do it at all. So yeah, worth checking out.
Yeah, they're very cohesive. It's an outstanding speaker.
Yeah.
It looks like we have one more question from Divertity on streamers. Would the Hi-Fi Rose 150 be competitive with an Arender N20 in sound quality as purely a streamer feeding an MSB DAC?
No, you'd definitely want the N20.
Agreed.
Yeah, the N20.
Yep.
The Hi-Fi Rose is when you say, I want one box. I want it to have the HDMI function. I want this. I want streaming. I want the screen. I want that. It's great.
CD player.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. But
storage,
exactly.
server.
Storage, everything. But if I'm feeding an MSB DAC, I want the N20. That combination, the MSB discrete, the second power supply, the Pro USB, and the N20, that is my favorite digital for the one I just put in a system. I mean, we've sold that combination so many times, and everybody's been elated. And the cool thing, and I'll mention it again about MSB, is they have the 100% you know, funds, money upgrade policy. So if you upgrade to the model above or 2 models above or 3 models above, you can get 100% of what you spent on your discrete DAC to go to the next model up. Or if you buy the Premier, you can get 100% of that back towards going to the next model. And that's done through MSB. So pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know how they do that. Yeah, that's all we have for questions, it looks like.
Okay.
So what else? Do we have anything else?
I don't think so. Well, I think Cindy, we were talking today about the program that we've been working on for the hurricane relief for the folks that were severely impacted by Hurricane Ian. So we're gonna roll out some more information on that on our website, and we'll be giving away a product for people who make a donation. And you'll be entered into a raffle to win the item.
Yeah. This is news to me.
Well, we don't tell you everything.
So we'll put it out today on our homepage, on our Facebook, and on our Instagram.
Okay.
You'll be able to find a link, so you can have or put any donations towards everybody that was in Hurricane Ian.
Right.
And then, next week, we could do a raffle, and someone will win that product.
Okay.
We're still thinking about what product it's going to be, but it's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Yeah, we'll figure it out. And we've been bouncing around a few ideas on how we can help out those folks. And we'll see what we can do.
Cool.
Yeah.
All
and right. I think guests coming up, we do need to get Vince from MSB on the show. He is a wealth of information. It'll likely be a 2-part series, because once you get Vince and me and Rick talking, it could be a while. But Vince is very, very knowledgeable about digital, all things digital. So
that's going to be I can't wait for that.
It'll be a good one. And we've got a few other guests lined up that we're just waiting to bring in and have on the show. As I mentioned, Bart from the Florida Audio Expo, which will again be February 17, 18, and 19. And the rooms are selling out very quickly. Every time I talk to Bart, every morning he says, sold 2 more rooms. So they're certainly selling out. So the vendors, the manufacturers, dealers, whoever's out there, you definitely want to jump on it quickly if you can.
Yeah, it's going to be a great show.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button. That really helps us out. We don't ask a lot, but if you could do that, that's definitely important for us and our data and whatnot. So we appreciate it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you, Cindy.
And
thanks for being here.
It's always a pleasure. Like, I learned from every time that I come to the store or I'm with you guys. I learned so much more than any blog, any review, anything in like such a short amount of time.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you being part of the team and all your efforts, just like Mike and all his efforts, and Matt and Rick and everybody. So we greatly appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you watching.
Thanks.